You're listening to Behind the Wheel on RacingJunk.com. You've read the stories of the drivers and others involved in the sport that we all love. Now hear their stories firsthand via our all-new podcast to find out how their passion for motorsports has made life worth living.
How dare you say that I'm getting technical? Soot, silt, dirt, off-road. I mean,
well,
it's all the
I'll try to be as technical and as right as possible for our listeners on here, because if you guys still want to, feel free to tell us that we're wrong. It's fine. We don't mind. We're not perfect. I mean, come on. Can't you tell the way we talk? We're definitely not perfect. Come on, people. You're talking about me here. Come on.
I'll tell you what, Ellen was breaking my balls here talking about the soot and silt. We were talking about, she said silt. I thought she meant soot. And I was like, you say soot?
That's ash.
But, I'm deaf in both ears, so it's, it's okay. I don't know what. Welcome back.
You've been spending too much time near the, chimney waiting on Santa. It's a little too early. He ain't there yet.
Hang on, let me sip my eggnog here. Oh, that's spiked with some good stuff. Hey. Oh, welcome back to Behind the Wheel on RacingJunk.com, and happy holidays. Ellen, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy holidays. That's right. It's time. It's time to party.
And can you believe that this year is already almost over?
I know. I can't believe it. I'm like, what are we, a week and a half, 2 weeks away from, the end of the year? I'm like, right. Where did it all go?
I mean, it's flown by. We have had so many great interviews this year. I mean, I got to thinking about it just now because that's how my brain works. We really should have done a 2018 recap best of. Maybe we'll work on that for something. But I mean, we got such an amazing 2019 lined up. Ellen has done such a great job at getting these interviews, setting these people up. You got to stay tuned to Racing Junk to find out what's going to be happening in the near future. And, last episode was pretty good. But this episode, we're going to knock it out the park with this one.
That's right. Well, I don't know. It's hard to beat the last episode because, our NHRA champions are always fun to talk to. But yeah, I do love going back to the off-road type stuff. It is where I kind of live and passionate about. So I'm excited to talk to this latest guest.
That's right. We're going
the roots.
I
think he's trying to say the redneck version of roots.
It's the roots. I mean, it is absolutely. Although, granted, I got to take a pot shot at the PR person from last episode because they didn't want us airing one of the interviews. Now we're not gonna call it out. We're not gonna say which one.
Let's not go there.
Because they thought that we're not as professional as sounding as we should be. Obviously, this is a PR handler who just got their job out of college because they know nothing about fun entertainment and interviews. And when it gets down to talking to people, that's what we want to do. We want to have fun. We want to talk to real people who are champions, but we want to have fun with them.
Exactly. If you're listening and you're hoping to be a driver who's interviewed by ESPN, do me a favor and contact ESPN because we are not it. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. Sorry.
Yeah. We're not fluff. I'm not going to powder coat. Ellen's not going to powder coat for you, but I will ask you some stupid stuff. And I'm interested to see what's going to happen with tonight's interview. Avid motocross business icon Larry Janesky, who's proven that age is not a number. We've done that a lot this year. Mm-hmm. We've had some ageless wonders, and I wonder if Larry's going to be okay with me calling him that on the show. And
hey, I like it. It's great. It makes me feel better because I feel like I'm getting way too old to do anything cool.
Please, give me do you even have gray hair yet?
Oh, yes, honey. I got my first gray hair when I was in my 20s.
I'm not talking about your husband. I'm talking about gray hair. So we're going to take a brief break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk to Larry Janesky. So stay tuned to Behind the Wheel on RacingJunk.com.
Attention racers, race fans, and gearheads. If you're looking to buy, sell, or trade the stuff that stokes your engine, then check out RacingJunk.com. RacingJunk.com is the world's #1 online racing and performance classifieds, where you'll find what you need to rock your ride. Check us out at RacingJunk.com. Racing and performance classifieds built to go fast.
Welcome back to Behind the Wheel on RacingJunk.com. We got the eggnog passed around, all of it spiked, and we are very honored to have joining us on the phone right now. I'm going to say ageless wonder, even though he's barely older than me, Larry Janesky, who's proven that age, no matter how young you start or how old you are currently, should never stop you from achieving that dream and making it come true. Larry, welcome to Behind the Wheel.
Hey, great to be here.
So I've been reading up on you a little bit, and multi-tier, multi-talented is kind of an understatement. But tell me, how did you go from carpentry to Baja Ironman? How did that get started?
Well, my business and, my motorcycle passions are, two really different things. So when I started riding motocross when I was 32 years old, and my younger brother got me going. And, he had been racing motocross for, 5 or 6 years before me. And I remember one time he was in the hospital. He had gone over the bars at the racetrack, and he's in the hospital with a collapsed lung, and he had a tube coming out of his chest. And I said, "Man, why don't you quit that?" And he's like, "No way." And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I can't believe, how bad does that have to get? You have to die first or something? Well, anyway, a few months later, I tried his bike, went over the sand pit. I got on his bike, and I'd never been on a full size motocross bike before. And in about 30 seconds, I was crashed in trees. And I said, "Man, this is great. I got to master this."
This is what I want to do. Let's wreck body parts.
Yeah. So I got the bug, and I started riding twice a week, for 20 years, really, as long as the weather holds out here in Connecticut. I was riding twice a week, and I got better and better and better, and started jumping freestyle ramps and being competitive, and so that's how it started.
Now, how long ago was that? You said it was when you were 32. So what year was that?
32. So I'm 54 now. So
yeah, I'm not doing math after business hours.
20-some years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, right. 94, 96. Yeah.
So picking that up.
About the time I graduated high school, Chris.
Yeah, way to go, Ellen. Yeah, sure it was. Yeah.
I'm just saying it's true.
Maybe feel old. I was already in service by that time. So at the age of 32, you were already a successful businessman. So what was the drive? What was the motivation besides the bug? There had to be something that said, you know what? Was it the challenge? Was it the fact that you knew you could do it? What made you say, I'm going to conquer this?
I don't know. I think it's an individual sport. You don't have to be the biggest guy. You don't have to be the strongest guy. You don't have to be the fastest guy. And really, it's a skill. You got to be physically fit, but you got to develop your skill. And I thought, okay, believe it or not, if you're going to have an extended career on a dirt bike, it's a thinking man's game. You gotta. You got to play things right. The riders that ride at 100% or 99%, they're crashing. Their careers are going to be short, right? So I was, I wouldn't crash too much. Of course, sometimes it's spectacular when you're crashing over a 60-foot double or something. But so I don't know. It was just something that I felt that I could do. It felt great, and once you learn how to ride, it's almost like a dance. You get in the rhythm, you get in the flow on a track, and you're hitting all your jumps just right, and you can't think about anything else. You don't think about work, you don't think about anything except the track right in front of you, and it's just a way to just have fun, stay in shape, and cheat the devil a little bit. It's always a thrill. You're always pushing, at the edge and getting that little rush, and so it's just something I kind of fell in love with.
You mentioned something that really stood out to me. You said it's a thinking man's game, and Ellen and I have touched on this in the past. It's so much more of a mental than a physical. And I know, Ellen, you're way more connected than I am. But some of these racers, especially, we're not going to say dirt, we're going to say off-road. There's some of the sharpest cats on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of thinking to it, but there's also physical. I mean, Larry, I got a chance to watch your YouTube movie today, and you guys don't exactly look like you're out of shape. So.
No, for sure. Especially for this past few years, what I've had to go through to make it happen. But yeah, but it's you can't go out there and say I'm gonna give it hell and I'm gonna just twist this throttle wide open and I'm gonna you got to be smart. Otherwise, you're not gonna last long. You might not even survive.
Does that come from the business side of the house, that aspect too? Because I'm sure a lot of people, have probably seen your videos online on how to make a home more energy efficient with the Dr. Energy Saver video series. But, having that carpentry background, having that entrepreneurial spirit, that successful business mindset, did that play a big role into making off-road successful?
Well, I don't know how it couldn't. I mean, you apply how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Exactly.
So you got to have a strategy, and you got to be prepared, and you got to have a plan, and have good team members, and have the right resources and the right experience, and put a strategy together and execute, and so yeah, I mean, all of that is in there, sure.
Have you seen some of the same opposition that you first faced when you started your business? Calling codes wrong and saying, homes are unhealthy and being criticized for that. Then all of a sudden, years later, now to be heralded as this, genius in the industry. Have you seen that same thing translate or that same thing kind of pop up in the motocross when you started it at 32? Did people say, Larry, you're nuts?
Yeah, I mean, some people say I'm nuts, and some people just ignore it, and whatever. And you don't do it for other people. In this case, you do it for yourself. But yeah, I mean, I think I've been underestimated. Whenever you go into a field, whether it be a career or a sport, and you're new, you don't get a lot of attention, and people don't take you seriously, and they don't expect too much because maybe a lot of people before you haven't done too much, and
right.
And so you're underestimated. I almost like being underestimated, because while everyone else is watching TV, maybe I'm working. While everyone else has given up after a year or so, they lost interest, they moved on to something else. I'm still there. I don't quit. And so eventually I will win eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how long.
Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes it's frustrating, there's, you have these dark nights of the soul, where things aren't going well and you've got so much effort and time into, a given endeavor and it's just not working. And, and you wonder, do I keep going? Do I persist? Do I just work harder? Do I work longer? Or am I being stupid? Do I just need to, abort and spend my time doing something more productive or completely different way or something? So, you go through that when you don't succeed at first, and you start questioning, and it's smart. I mean, you shouldn't, if something's not working, you don't just keep doing it forever. I mean, it's
right. Definition of insanity.
Make some changes. Yeah, exactly.
So we're talking with Larry Janesky, and Larry, other than the Baja 1000, have you raced anywhere else? What are some of the other ones that stick out?
Well, I've raced just here at the local motocross track, and I have my own track. I built my own track.
Wow.
Because why not?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
why not?
Well, that's one of the advantages of being successful in business is you got some money to do some things. And so 20 years ago, we bought some land here in Connecticut, and where I live in Connecticut. Well, southern Connecticut and parts of Connecticut are pretty populated. It's hard to find some land, but then there's upstate and rural Connecticut, a lot of forest and rolling hills and stuff, and trees, everywhere. So you can get a piece of land there. So we bought, I have 80 acres and built a motocross track, and mostly I ride there. But we did do 3 or 4 years. We raced the Friday night series at the local motocross track, and I raced with my son for a few of those years as he came up. And I wasn't. I never won an expert class race, or not even close. But in my age group, I did well. I did really well.
I'd say so.
But as far as the short races, explosive, speed, in motocross, you got to hang it out there, And it was like, here's a risk that maybe I'm not willing to take, to do what you got to do to win in the expert class, But then I discovered Baja, and that was a completely different thing because, it's a different game out there.
Now you had mentioned, I was going to say, you mentioned you did some races with your son, and Ellen was telling me about the YouTube movie. I have not seen it, but the 2015 amazing. Race, tell us about that.
So we went on a recreational tour to, I have a friend in Southern California, and he said, hey, the guy next to me, Chris Haynes, has this motorcycle tour company, and why don't we get a group of us together and we'll go down to Baja and we'll have a fun time. Okay, great. So me and my son went down there with 6 or 7 friends, and we got a guide from Chris Haynes' operation, and we're having a good time down in Baja. It's beautiful down there, just beautiful. It's 2 hours south of San Diego is where you typically start in Ensenada. And you've got the Pacific Ocean side, you've got the Sea of Cortez side, you've got sand, dry lake beds, you've got cactus, you've got mountains and beautiful rock formations and sand dunes, and it's just everything there. So the guide says, hey, we're on the course of the Baja 1000 that they used for last year. And we're like, what's the Baja 1000? We're from Connecticut. We're not 1,000 miles near a desert, So, it's the longest nonstop cross-country race in the world. Really? Okay. And so we, asked some more questions. Well, my son, who was, he was 19, 20 at the time, he says, well, I think we should do it. I said, well, you think we should do it, huh? He says, yeah. I said, okay. I said, okay. I didn't have any idea what we're getting into, really. And so him and I were a 2-man team. We said, we're going to do it, him and I. And we entered the sportsman class, and the race was in November. So we didn't know what Baja was in January, and here we are in November. We're in the Baja 1000. And Chris Haynes gave us race support and set up our bike and everything, and gave us some guidance, of course, and we pre-ran the course. And so we were against teams of 4, 5, and 6 riders, and we were just 2 of us. So that's a big disadvantage because the same bike has to start and finish the race. But you can have as many riders in the sportsman class, or really in the pro class, most any class except Ironman. You can have as many riders as you want, and you can switch as many times as you want. So typically, if you have 5 guys on the team, one guy will go out and bust out, 150 miles or so, and he's done. He gives the bike to the next guy, and he rides at 180 miles, and he gives the next guy, and it goes like that. So you're always dealing with a fresh rider. Well, for Tanner and I, we had a plan where I started, went 80 miles, gave the bike to him. He would go, 70 or 90 or something. He give the bike to me. I go 50, and I give it to him. He'd go, 40, and back and forth. We took 6 turns each. So that's how we ran the race, and it was pretty dramatic. I mean, I think we started 7th out of 10. At mile 80, when I gave the bike to him, we were in 3rd. When he gave the bike to me, the next time we were, I think we were in 2nd.
Yeah, you were.
We worked our way up to, we were leading, and we were really excited. We couldn't believe this. And so we went into night, and he had a 120-mile leg. And I'm waiting for him. It's dark. It's pitch black out there. We're waiting at the stop, and people are gathered around, and there's fires. There are people, campfires, and they're watching the race, and we're waiting. He's overdue. He's not here. What's happening? He's overdue. We were in first place. What happened? I mean, he's a great rider. I mean, what could have happened? And so it turns out he hit a rock and bounced into another bigger rock and knocked the front brake caliper off the bike. So now it's hanging by the brake line. Well, the brake caliper is swinging around and getting caught up in the spokes, so he's got to stop. And, he doesn't know what to do, so we weren't completely prepared. We should have had wire ties with us, but so he devises a plan finally, and he rips the sleeves off his jersey to use them as rope.
Oh my God, that was my favorite part of that movie.
I mean, jerseys are made not to rip,
He was already freezing, by the way, Chris. It was not warm when he did this. It was freezing outside when he did this.
I was going to say, this isn't something where you could just stop at a Stuckey's and get a zip tie. I mean, you're kind of...
I mean...
Oh, they couldn't even find a gas station out there. What are you kidding me? El gasolino, no gasolino.
Yeah. So, on the leg he's on, it's 120 miles. So what happens is the course winds in and out of the desert, and wherever it crosses the paved road, and there's really only two paved roads in Baja, on the Pacific side and the Sea of Cortez side. That's it. There's no other paved road. So wherever the course crosses the paved road, that's where you can meet your crew, right, to take a break, get something to eat, check the bike, change riders, whatever. So we're waiting there, and finally he limps this thing in with no front brake, and he's got the thing tied up with his shirt sleeves. He's got no sleeves. I'm like, what the hell? You see him coming out of the darkness this way. What happened? And so we had a chase bike actually in the truck, so we took the front brake caliper off and got it fixed up. Took a half an hour, but by that time, with all the time he lost and we had to fix the bike, we were an hour and a half behind first place. We were in third. And so, okay, so now we're going into the night. And so I think it was, must have been about 16 hours into the race at this point. We're about halfway through. And so I take off into the night and just do my best to catch up, and so the next stop, I give it to him. We're caught up a little bit more. We're caught up a little bit more. We're caught up a little bit more at each turn. And then I remember passing the guy that was in second place and, third, and we were in second now. And then my last turn on the bike, I said, I'm going to leave it all out here. And so I just rode as fast as I could, and about 10 minutes before I come into the truck, I hit this concrete obstacle in the middle of the woods. There's middle of the desert. Sorry, there's like a raised concrete road, and I hit this thing at speed in the dark, and I survived. I thought, man, I'm going in, but I made it through. I saved it. So 10 minutes later, I come out to the road, and I see Tanner. I'm going to do a rider change, and there's first place right across the street. He's pitting.
Oh yeah.
And so we said, let's get Tanner on. Let's get him out of here. We won't check the oil. We won't check the filter. We'll just get him out of here so that we can be in first place. He's not riding the other guy's dust. And in Baja, the dust is horrible. I mean, it's really hard to pass because the guy in front of you is making dust, and the closer you get, the less you can see. So we got him out of there, and it's still pitch black. It's probably 5 a.m, and all of a sudden he's riding along, and that big 2 HID headlights, the Baja headlights, start wobbling up and down on the bumps. And finally, they just break off the bike, and they're hanging by the wire, falling down on the front fender, pointing at the ground. He can't see anything. Wow. He stops. And it turns out when I hit that, we figured this out like 2 months later, what happened. When I hit that concrete barrier thing out there, I must have cracked something in the front, right, in the headlight bracket, and finally it broke loose. So So he pulls over.
Oh, yeah, when your
and
son was driving it, it broke loose.
Yeah.
Is this when the headlight fell off?
Yeah. He takes his helmet off, his neck brace off, his jacket off, his pack off, his gloves off, and he takes his sweatshirt off and ties the headlight up again with his clothes, right?
And it's still cold outside, by the way, Chris. It's nighttime now, so it's a whole lot colder at this point.
And that wind is not fun at night either.
No, and he's on a bike, so remember this. There is no enclosure.
Dirt bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we lost the lead. You see on the video, on his helmet cam, because his helmet was off and it was sideways, and here goes the second place guy just passes him. He takes the lead. So my son catches up, and it's a lot of detail in the story here, but he's trying to catch up, and he comes into the checkpoint, and it's just getting light out now, and he's right behind the other guy. And he comes in a checkpoint. Well, he sees our chase truck, and he's got to pull in to get the headlight changed. And so he pulls in. Now he loses more time, and he goes to catch up. Finally, he makes the pass for the lead. It's okay, great, we're in the lead. Well, 200 yards later, he comes to a crossroad, and the locals change the sign. And in Baja, the forward signs like that way, marking the course, are orange, and the arrow would be pointing up. And if you flip that sign around 180 degrees, it's actually green, and it says wrong way.
Right.
And so that's how they do it out there. So somebody switched the sign so it says wrong way. So he comes to this, and he says, oh, man, which way do I go? And he's got the guy right on his butt. He's like, I got to make a decision. Which way do I go? So he takes a right, and he goes 4 miles trying to figure out, is this the right way? Well, it's not. He finally turns around. Well, luckily, the other guy followed him.
Yeah.
And as they're turning around, the other guy sees him turning around. He turns around first, and he gets the lead again. So he's following them, and at the intersection, they go the correct way, and my son passes them again, and then there's some swapping back and forth, and I'm waiting there at the finish line, just looking, in the city at, who's going to come around the corner first. And Tanner comes around the corner first. He pulls it in the finish line, and we won by 60 seconds.
Well, you didn't know you won right away from what I remember, because watching the movie, and if you all haven't seen this, and we should tell them what the movie is called. Do you actually want to tell them what the movie is called? That way everybody can find it.
Yeah, it's called Into the Dust. Into the Dust. It's on YouTube, and it's a great family movie. It's a great movie, and it's a 90-minute full-length theater quality documentary, and it's got 1.3 million views. It's the most popular movie about motorcycling in Baja that there is.
Wow.
And if you're a parent or a racer, I recommend this movie highly, because actually you could see just how stressful it is for a parent waiting at the finish line, even if you are competing with your son. Because let me tell you, there's one movie, and I'm sorry I'm pointing this out for you, Larry. I apologize, but I can see my dad in this movie totally, because Larry's in the chase truck at one point, and he's so proud of his son. Oh, he's so proud. This is already after he's met him one time, and this is after he tied the brake part on with his jersey. And then the second time he's at the finish line, or near the finish line, he comes pulling in, and he's got the sweater, tied around this headlight, which is barely hanging on. So he's just got this pride in him. He's in the chase truck at one point. He's about to cry, and I'm sorry, Larry, I'm pointing this out, but I just love that about you. I was like, oh, look at him. He's so excited. He's about to cry. I love it. And then, because you're such a dad, I just love it. You remind me of my dad. And then he's at the finish line, and this one bike comes across, and it's not his son, but it's not his class, so it's not that big a deal. But he's like, here he comes. No, that's not him. And he's like, oh, where is he? This is driving me crazy. You're like the dad who's pacing in front of the door. I can see my dad doing this. He did this when I was 16. He's pacing in front of the door. Where is she? Why is she not home from her date yet? Where is she?
Lord.
I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna kill her. Where is she?
Little different scenario.
Yeah, but still, he's there, and he's pacing, and he's back and forth, and he's pacing. He's like, where is he? Where is he? Is he hurt? Is he okay? Where is he? where is he? I don't know where he is. And they can't communicate with him because his helmet's gone or the camera's already dead. And it's just, it's hysterical to watch. I couldn't help but laugh. I'm sorry, Larry. I couldn't help but giggle, but I was like, that is so my dad right there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, what did Tanner think of all this?
Well, he's pretty stoic, even more than me.
He is. He's pretty impressive. He really is.
Yeah. But I've had him on a four-wheeler since he was 8 months old. I bought this little Honda 90 four-wheeler, and I put him on the seat in between my legs, and I would hold him with my left hand and operate the throttle with my right hand, and just we'd go around the yard in a little patch of woods behind our house. And when he was 2 years old, he wanted to operate the thumb throttle, on this thing.
Sure.
So I would just hold on and let him, 2 years old, give me a ride on this Honda 90cc ATV.
Oh, wow.
And so then he's 2 years and 10 months old, and I think he can do this. So I get off. And I'm telling you, if the Department of Child Protection could saw what happened.
Don't let them listen to this.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mean you wanted to get off, Larry? You didn't actually get off. You wanted to. You thought about it.
So I got off, and I had it in first gear. He can't go faster than I can run. So he went around the yard just fine, and so then when he was 5, I got him his first dirt bike, and he'd been riding, ever since, and he's a great rider. But look, Baja is dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
if you don't know that, come on, man. I mean, who doesn't know that?
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, motocross is dangerous too, but Baja, you're going. So people say to me, "Oh, well, you're a racer." They don't know anything about this. They say, "How fast do you go?" That's what you want to know. What is it going to thrill you if I say we go 100 miles an hour? What's going to impress you? But really, it's about the terrain, right?
It is.
You could be going 30 miles an hour in Baja and be just really taking chances, right? This is fast for this particular terrain. You got boulders, loose boulders, and on a 45-degree uphill, or you're in the 3-foot deep whoops with cactus on both sides, or you're in sill up to your seat, and with rocks embedded in it, and it's just the terrain is the limiting factor. And then there's the trophy trucks that come through, the trucks and buggies that come through. Mm-hmm. They're coming through some of this terrain twice as fast as bikes because they don't have to worry about their line. They got 3 foot of suspension travel. They're bucketed in. Into a racing seat with a harness and all this, they just nail it, right? But on a bike you got to pick your line. You hit something that you didn't see, a rock sticking up 8 inches could take you out, and you're going to land on another rock, and you're going to be laying there while other vehicles come through, or you're laying there 80 miles from your truck, and what are you going to do, right? So it's dangerous. I mean, people die in this race. I mean, most years there's a fatality, unfortunately. And they try to keep it quiet, but, it happens. And even spectators as well. I mean, that's a different issue. That's not from the motorcycles. But,
right.
It is a dangerous race. And so your son's out there, right, and he's overdue, right? Where is he? And he's a great rider. So if he's overdue, it wasn't because he was kind of, a dog in it or something. It's because something happened.
Right.
And the hours, an hour ticks by, and then another 15 minutes, another 15 minutes, and you're like, it's pitch black, and then trophy trucks start coming through. You're like, man. So it can be a little stressful. So anyway, that was our 2015 race.
Larry, that is, let me tell you what, it's hard for me to even think about the next step, you taking it up even another notch.
Another notch, yeah.
So, and excuse the French here, why in the Sam hell did you decide to compete in the solo Ironman?
Yeah, that's insane. I got to know this because honestly, I mean, I did talk to an Ironman before this, and he actually was in the military, and he's used to staying up, days on end, and he was in special ops and all this stuff, and that's how Larry found us. But I'm just like, why, after competing in his first Baja, didn't even know about Baja prior to this, would he go 3 years later to competing on his own when he didn't even know about Baja before 2015? That's just crazy.
Well, I tell people if I didn't have a son, my life would be a lot more boring and I'd be 30 pounds heavier, So it was really him. He's the reason that we raced as a team. And when we finished, he said, he's always looking to challenge himself. He's physically, this kid he's an animal. He competes in Spartan races and long distance running races, and he's at the gym all the time. And, he's 6'3", and he is ripped, and he's looking for a challenge, Meanwhile, he's a gentleman, he's soft spoken, he's quiet, this kind. So when we finished the Baja 1000 in the sportsman class, which is a sort of amateur mixed age class, he said, I want to do Ironman next year. And I said, Tanner, do you know what you're getting into? He said, yeah. No, I want to do it. I said, oh, man. Then I'm thinking, now I lost my teammate, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Am I going to just ride in a chase truck? I don't do that. I said, all right, I'll do it too. And so that's how, I opened my mouth, and now I'm committed. And so we entered the Ironman class in 2016. And honestly, I lost a lot of sleep over that race. I mean, this is one of those things, it's going to end badly. Even if you finish, it's bad. I mean, you're suffering. I mean, you're draining the battery, mental and physical, down to zero and going more. And it's going to suck, So I'd lay in bed and think about it and have cold sweats and so forth, all year it seems. And so now the time has come. We're lined up for the Baja 1000 Ironman. It was so cool. We're on the starting podium, and there I am, number 714X. 7 means Ironman, and X means motorcycle. So my motocross number is 414. So I got 714, and his motocross number is 75. So he got 775. And here I am, it's me, and he staged right behind me. They lined him up right behind me, and it's father and son here in the Baja 1000 Ironman. Never before happened, and it was really cool. So it's always a story with so many dimensions, but basically, he's faster than me, so he was in front of me somewhere, and I said, I'm going to go find him. I'm going to go catch him, and I'm going to meet him at that finish line. Daniel.
Heck yeah.
And
little punk's not going to get the one up on Pops. Not in a million years.
Right. Well, at mile 200, I got distracted and by a local, and there was this, they dig booby traps, pits, and they put rocks on the course, and they just want to see carnage sometimes, and they're all standing around with their pictures, the locals, and I don't want to throw the locals under the bus. In general, there are 300,000 race fans over there, and they are helpful. And if you go down, they all run out and they want to help you, and you stop, they will help you. I mean, they're just really great people in Baja, but there's a few misfits. And so I come over this rise, and I realize there's a pit here that's dug, and it's full of water, actually, from some drainage from agriculture or something. You don't see much water out there. But so it was, if I knew it was there, I could have jumped it. It's maybe 15 foot across or something, but I slowed down to see what was up there. And now it's too late. I'm going too slow. So I pull up the bars right to my chest to try to clear this thing. And the front end just compresses completely on the other side of the hole. And my neck goes forward. And I'm like unicycling out on the front wheel. And I thought, am I going to save this? Am I going over the bars? Well, I saved it. The back wheel went down finally. And I realized, man, I just jacked my neck up, man. I got whiplash going forward, like really bad. I tore tissue in my neck, and I got 4 vertebrae out. I didn't know it at the time. I just said, oh man, that hurts, So I tried to ride it off, and anyway, long story short, I was suffering from there from mile 200, and I made it to mile 600, and the race was 855 miles that year, and I just could not go 1 mile more. And man, I cried in my helmet. I just couldn't. And there's a guy on the mountain called the Weatherman, and he runs a radio relay station, and all the racers have his frequency. Mm-hmm. And you call in to the Weatherman to report accidents and injuries, and if you need a helicopter or Lifestar or anything like that, and you call in when your vehicle's out of the race. Mm-hmm. And when my driver had to call the Weatherman and say, Weatherman, 714X is out of the race at 600. I mean, that hit me like a
I was going to say, I bet that's
like
like
a chest, man.
It
was horrible.
Going all that way through life so successful just to have that. I mean, that had to be just a crush.
Brutal. Yeah.
It was. So then Tanner finished. Okay, so that's the good news. Tanner finished in his first Ironman attempt and became, I think it was the 13th human being to ever finish the Baja 1000 Ironman.
Wow.
And, he paid a heavy price. He dug deep. He, his hands were really messed up at the end. But he finished. And he said, that was horrible, and I never want to do that again. Okay.
So you did it.
So next year, what happens? So we say, you know what? I said, Tanner, I got to go back. I don't quit. I'm not gonna live the rest of my life saying I failed the Baja 1000 Ironman. I'm going back. So he said, all right, well, Dad, if you're going back, I'll go back too. I don't want to, but I'll go back. So we both entered last year's race, and it was the 50th anniversary. So the course designers do something nuts, and they made it 1,134 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, so, that's nothing.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Tack on a few.
I can't drive that far without having to stop. Several times.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't drive that far either. I mean, so we start the race at 1:30 a.m. and they couldn't make it any harder, right? You can't even get a good night's sleep before the race.
30. Why not?
So. Well, something bad happened 30 hours before the race. My son is definitely allergic to peanuts, and we're in a restaurant, and we had fajitas. He puts a little hot sauce on his fajita.
Oh, no.
And he starts feeling something right away in his throat, and he asked the waiter, what's in the hot sauce? The waiter says immediately, well, it's peanuts, oil, and
oh, no.
So
of course it is.
We got up out of there. He knows he's got 1 hour. 1 hour till he cannot breathe. And so we go back to the hotel, we call the ambulance, we get in the ambulance, and, it's the day before the race, right? And so we're in the hospital, and we get him situated, and fortunately he didn't get jacked up with too much Benadryl and steroids and stuff. But so they got him stable, but, it was not good. So next day is the race. So he wanted to win this race, and that's why he went back with me. He says, I'm going to win this. I'm not just going to finish. I'm going to win. Okay, that's how he is. So he's going for the win, and he was leading the race for 205 miles. And at every pit, I would say, where's Tanner? How's he doing? Oh, he's doing good. He's leading. Okay, where's Tanner? How's he doing? He's doing good. He's right up front. Okay, where's Tanner? How's he doing? Oh, he's in second now. Okay, good. So I was 2.5 hours ahead of my schedule. My plan that I made for my race at mile 560, and the sun was just going down. And so now let's see, we started at 1 in the morning, and the sun came up, and then the sun is going down again now. And so I go into the night, and in these really silty deep whoops, I went down, just a tip over, not a violent crash or anything. And I go to get up, and I'm stuck to the ground. And I look, what the hell?
Oh, God.
And I'm into a cactus. Okay.
Oh, my God.
I'm into a cactus, and there's like 150 big needles holding me down, right? They're stuck in my skin, my arm and my shoulder.
Oh.
So it's pitch black, and fortunately I carried a side pouch, which is something I learned from Tanner the year before, and I had wire cutters in there, among other things. Got the wire cutters out, and I'm reaching behind the side of my shoulder. I'm clipping the big needles off one by one. Finally, these plates of cactus are falling off me one by one. And so I get up, and I'm like, can I ride like this? I got like 150 sewing needles, about an inch into me. And if I move my muscles, well, that hurt like hell. I mean, what's going to happen here? So I go to ride, and it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. So I make it through a really difficult part of the course this way, and this incredible hill climb that was just loose rocks, 45-degree angle. It's pitch black. You know, of course, you got your headlights and all, but made it up this hill climb, another mile through a military checkpoint, and then I go into my truck. So jersey off, they're pulling all the needles out of me with pliers, and then I had these hundreds of these tiny little hairy needles in me. They couldn't pull those things out. There's so many you could hardly see them, so we shaved them off, and figured they'll work out later.
Right.
So in all the excitement, I get some food and get all dressed for cold nighttime again, and just as I'm ready to take off, they said, "Hey, Tanner is 1 mile up the road." I said, 1 mile up the road? What are you talking about? He's supposed to be like 100 miles ahead of me. He's supposed to be, in like second place. What do you? Well, they had withheld some information from me because they didn't want me to be worried.
Worried, like you were before.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Why is he a mile up the road?" They said, "Well, just go see." So I go a mile up the road, and it's pitch black. It's the outskirts of San Ignacio, and I pull, and there's the truck, and I pull in, and there he is in his street clothes. I said, "Tanner, what happened?" And he said, I just couldn't hold on anymore. He said, "I felt like I was going to pass out, going 70 miles an hour." He said, I can't go on. I said, "Man," I said, "Were you okay?" He said, "Yeah, I'm okay." "No, are you okay with like not finishing?" He said, "Yeah, I'm okay."
Oh.
So now I got two chase teams looking at me, right? There's and we had the camera crew there, and there's like 15 guys looking at me, and I'm saying, "Well, damn it, I'm gonna finish. I am gonna finish this race," and I actually felt pretty good. So I take off into the night, and just 1 mile down the road is a right turn into a tiny little town, San Ignacio. You go 1 block, there's people on the sidewalks and stuff cheering you on, and there's lights and there's some color because, people don't realize at nighttime you see in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have natural light or things lit up, then you see in color. So, when you come into some light and you can actually see things, you see colors, it's kind of like, you kind of wake up and like, wow, these people are cheering for me, and it's like, wow. And I go into the town square. You got the 600-year-old mission church. Take a left there. You go 2 more blocks, and just 10-foot high concrete block buildings, and then boom, you're off into the oblivion again. Black desert night, no lights, nothing. For it's going to be 180 miles before I see my truck again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, little did I know, I had just made a huge mistake. And I'm at the town was at mile 607. I'm at 643. I'm going along, and the bike stops.
Oh no!
Like, oh shit! I missed the gas pit. I missed the gas pit. And while these people are cheering for me, I'm fist pumping them, and we can see it on the helmet cam, plain as day later. I'm fist pumping them to the left, and the pit is right on my right, and I missed it. Damn it! There's a gas pit every 50 miles, so there's a lot of them. And what you do in Baja, I put a tape, like white duct tape, if you want to call it, on my front fender, a strip of it, and I write every mile marker where there's a gas pit, where there's a checkpoint, or where I'm going to meet my truck. Mm-hmm. And I write it in different colors, so I know, okay, gas pit is in red, and that's at mile 607. Mm-hmm. Well, I missed the damn thing, and in all the excitement with Tanner dropping out of the race and everything, I forgot about the gas pit,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what do I do now? So I get my satellite phone out of my pack, and I fire it up, and I call my team, and I say, "Andrew, I'm out of gas. I missed the gas pit." And they're like, "Oh, shoot." So, all right, we'll figure something out. So I'm waiting there, and make a long story short, it was 11:30 at night when I ran out of gas, and I saw the sun come up standing there in the desert. I waited for 7 hours to get gas.
Wow.
And I had 7 hours of fluff. My plan had me finishing in 41 hours, and the time limit for the race was 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 7 hours of fluff, and I blew them all right there in the one shot right there. So I got gas, and it's funny, these no one would stop for me, not even think about it. No four-wheel vehicle. A few bikes stopped, but they said, there's nothing they could do for me. And so right when the sun was coming up, this big Arctic Cat four-wheeler comes by, and he's in the race, but he's not in it to win it. He's in it to just finish, have fun. And he pulls up, he stops, he turns around, he comes back, and he pulls up, and I got my helmet off, and he says, "Hey." Now, this is in the middle of nowhere, right? You can't see. This is a flat desert plain and just little scrubby cactus and stuff. There's nothing as far as the eye could see. And this guy comes up to me, and he says, "Hey, you're Larry Janesky." I'm like, "What?" He says, "I saw your movie. Your movie is the reason I'm here. My wife let me come here and race this race because of your movie." I said, "Well, that's great. You got any gas?"
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Thanks for the props, kid. Where's your tank?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Now, he had this big Arctic Cat with a huge gas tank. It could go way farther than 50 miles between pits. And so I took the tube off my hydration pack, off my pack, and we siphoned gas out of his machine and got into my machine. So just before he leaves, "Hey, before you go, can I take a selfie with you? My wife is never going to believe this." I said, yeah, whatever. Hurry up. Come on, let's go. So I called this on the sat phone to my team. I said, "Hey, I got gas. I'm going." And they said, wait, Arturo's almost there. He's almost there. And I'm thinking about this. Oh, man. I said, if I leave, then my Arturo, who's on one of the mechanics on my team, he comes out with the gas on Tanner's bike. I said, he's going to have to go 150 miles to the truck again. He's going to wonder where I am. He's going to, wonder. I said, I got to wait for him now. So I waited 15 more minutes. He pulls up, and I top off the gas. I get fresh goggles from him, and I'm gone. So I'm riding really good. Here's the problem. I'm dressed for 40-degree nighttime. Now the sun's coming up. It gets to go 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 degrees. I got no water. I used the tube from my hydration pack to siphon the gas. Yeah. I got no water. So at the gas pits, I get a little bottle of water from them, but I got 3 layers on, and I'm just in a hurry to get back to my truck. Well, it gets to be 100 degrees. They haven't seen me in 13 hours. Mm-hmm. I got a jersey, a pullover, and my race jacket on, and it's 100 degrees, and I am starting to get dehydrated. So I get back to my crew, and they fixed me up as best they could. The bike was fine, and food, water, drink, and I said to Tanner, Tanner, what's the math for me to finish this race? Can I finish in time? And he said, Dad, don't worry about it. He said, you got 43 miles to go to the next, till we see you again. He says, I went 10 miles, 4 reps. That's what he said. I went 10 miles, 4 reps. You got it? I said, okay, I got it. I'm going to go 10 miles. That's all I got to worry about, right? And then I'm going to go to another 10. And then I'm going to go to another 10. And that's how you got to do it in Baja. You got to break it down, right? And I had been in the race for, let me think now, 20, 30 hours, something like that. So the next 43 miles were the hardest part of the course. It was deep silt ruts, rocky riverbeds for miles. The bike is on like bowling balls, There were dried riverbeds, but, nevertheless, incredible hill climbs. It was really tough. And I knew I had to get past this section to sort of, get to a little easier terrain anyway for the rest of the race. So I pull into the Loretto dump. Loretto was a town, and the course went through their dump, would you believe? So when I started seeing trash on the course, I said, okay, I'm close. And I pulled in there, and I was just shot. I mean, it was 37 and a half hours I was in the race. I made it to mile 831, and I couldn't finish in the time limit, and it was getting dangerous. I was making mistakes, and I had gone down 3 times in that
Wow.
section before. And
Plus, you had like 700 needles in your shoulder. So
yeah. So I tapped out, and I was proud of myself that I got farther than I ever had. I mean, the race 2 years ago was 822 miles. The year before it was 855, and I was sitting at 831. And so if it was either of the previous 2 years' races, I would have finished.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but this race was 11:34, so it wasn't to be. So
well, Larry, a real man would have just pushed that bike right over the line. Are you kidding me? I can't even imagine. I wouldn't even. 1 mile, I'd be dead.
No,
I mean, it's just
exactly.
You're a better man than me, Moses. That's kind of the line that comes to mind right now.
Well, so again, I go home and I said, I can't die like this. I can't tell myself this story the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And so I'm 54 now. I would have been the oldest finisher of the Baja 1000 Ironman. Either of the last 2 years. And so I said, I am going to finish this race. And I made a decision. I said, I am going to go back over and over and over and over again until I finish. So I don't care, so that decision was already made. So it's kind of the pressure was off a little bit when I made that decision. And I said, it's going to happen. Okay. I will not be defeated by Baja over and over like this. So I decided I was going to race the whole desert racing series, and there's 4 races in the series, and that would make me better prepared for the last race, which is the Baja 1000.
Right.
So I worked out, man. I ran. I was, like previous years, but I even stepped it up my physical training, and so the first race was early April, and in Connecticut it's frozen till then. You can't ride. You can't get on a dirt bike. And so I go out to Baja, and I go into the San Felipe 250, which was 320 miles last year. And, you think, well, 320 miles, you did 830, or 31. This should be a piece of cake. Well, the terrain around San Felipe is all whooped out. I mean, it is whoops, whoops, whoops. There could be 100 miles straight of whoops with no break. And so it's not a gimme race. Well, in pre-running, I went over the bars at 40 miles an hour, got a concussion, saw stars, but I had to ride like that to get back to my truck. So I started riding, and I lucked out. The stars went away in my vision, and it cleared up. So I've had plenty of concussions, but that one I escaped. But anyway, in the race, I finished in 12 hours, and there was 12 starters, 7 finished, and I finished 7th.
Wow.
And had I known that I was so close to 6th and maybe 5th, I would have taken, I would have been a little bit more aggressive, maybe taken less time at my chase truck. But I just wanted to finish. And that was the first time that I had seen a finish line in Baja. As I pulled up to this finish line, I realized I had never seen this before. Because when my son and I won, he finished. And then I had 2 failed Ironman attempts, so it felt really good. Then the second race was the Baja 500, and it was 542 miles. And my son decided he wanted to do this one with me, and so we went out and pre-ran it. It was beautiful, picturesque, beautiful scenery. It was fantastic. Well, on race day, it was a lot different. The trucks always chew it up in their pre-running, and they make ruts and silt like you wouldn't believe, and places that were, a joy to ride are now hell. And but anyway, he finished in 17 hours, and I finished in 21 hours, and we made history as we were the first and only father and son to finish a Baja 1000 Ironman race.
How does that make you feel? I mean, when you look at that, I mean, think of how long that race has gone on. And now you're the first father-son combo to ever finish. What does that feel like?
I mean, it was amazing, to be there with him. I mean, this time I saw him at the finish line, and I pulled up to the podium, and there he was. And, I was just so proud, and here's a kid that I started at 10 months old on a four-wheeler, right? At 5 years old on his first motorcycle. And here we were finishing the Baja 500 together. And I was still at it. I have a lot of friends I used to ride with, and as I got older, they dropped off. They stopped riding. Maybe they got hurt. Their wife got on them, or they got out of shape or something. And, they don't ride anymore. And here I was still going strong and finishing, the second toughest race in Baja with my son. It was just an amazing, amazing feeling.
Larry, you have done so much. I mean, you're talking about a successful businessman. I mean, it's just, I'm in awe of everything that you've completed. And I know so many businessmen in my area would love to copy that. What advice can you give them? I mean, if they say, I'm too old, or, the business this, the business that. You're one of the largest employers in your area, and you're out here doing these Ironman competitions. What info can you give us? What help can you give us?
Well, obviously, don't give up, right? You got to know what you want, and you got to go after it and don't give up. And one thing that I've done in business, today, just a little background, we have a $150 million business. I started from, a little ad in the paper, carpentry, called Larry, No Job Too Small. So we have 380 employees. We're the largest employer in our area. I have 30 patents on different things. We have a 10-building campus. We're the largest taxpayer in our town as well.
Wow.
It's been an amazing ride. But, I would say that I haven't changed horses, right? I'm basically in the same business, which is repairing and improving houses.
Right.
That I've been in for 36 years. Okay. So you build and you build and you build and you build. And you take some baby steps back, maybe sometimes you make mistakes, but you learn and you keep going forward and you invest the past into the future.
Right.
You don't give up. So if I said, well, you know what, I'm gonna go into real estate. I'm gonna buy some income property. I'm gonna give up this home improvement business, or I'm gonna go open a restaurant or start a different kind of company. Well, then you're an amateur again. You're starting all over, in a new industry where people have been in it for years and they're way better than you. So I've stayed on course, and so I couldn't have done this in Baja. 5 years into my riding career. It wasn't going to happen. So stick with it. So here I was now at the third race of the season, was called the Tijuana Challenge, and I finished that. It was a shorter race. It was sort of a lap race. You do 2 34-mile laps on Saturday morning and 2 34-mile laps on Sunday morning. And I had not pre-run that course, and that really slowed me down. And on the first lap, till I didn't, you come over a rise, you don't know, let's turn left, let's turn right, what's it like over here, So, well, anyway, I was on a quest to finish the Baja 1000 Ironman, and I now found myself one of only 2 riders that finished all 3 races so far in the season. I was second place in the points out of 18 different riders who had entered Ironman races that season. Now I'm second place in the points. I'm like, wow, that's a bonus. I wasn't thinking about that. I'm just thinking about finishing the Baja 1000. So here comes the big day. It's race day. It's the Baja 1000. I prepared better than ever. I had a complete race plan. We had it written out. It was like, 14 pages typed out what the race plan is, what we're going to do at mile 33, what we're going to do at mile 74, what we're going to do at mile 110, and, every stop, it was, it's like a NASCAR pit stop, right? I come in, these guys are working on the bike, the other 2 guys are working on me. They're giving me what I need to eat. They're giving, sometimes later in the race, especially rubbing out my traps and my shoulders. In my hands, because they cramp up. You're in the same position, same motion all the time. They're changing goggles. They're refilling my pack, whatever it is. So I'm in or out of my pits really fast, and so I had a plan, and it was a detailed plan. And to prepare for a race like this, you got to get super rested. So I did a little riding on Monday. The race started on Friday, but on Tuesday, I am just like wake up in the morning, close your eyes again, just lay there.
Really?
And you fall asleep some more, and you wake up and you just lay there again. And finally, when you can't sleep anymore, you go have breakfast with the guys and you check the bike and you go register and you know, so forth. But then if you feel like you could sleep, if you feel like a nap would work, you go lay down in the hotel room. You take a nap. You go to bed early. And you just keep repeating that for the 4 days before the race.
Because you're not going to sleep at all.
Right.
Yeah.
No. And so that's what you do. And now at the same time, you don't want to lose your edge. You know, you're in the gym all the time and you're running and you're, you know, bicycling on your bicycle and you're, you know, physically you got to peak on Friday at 4 a.m. Okay. You got to peak. And so you don't want to stop working out and start resting too soon, right? But, you know, I would say 3.5 days before the race, you want to stop working out, stop riding, and just super rest.
Wow.
And so, you know, I've
Larry,
learned
I'm still not going to do the Baja. You can give me that all day. I'm still not even 1/4 of a man that you are right now. I feel so inadequate.
No
I'm not even going to
kidding.
come. You know, I'm not even going to drive to Baja. I'll just I'll just have bypass around it.
Seriously, I mean,
Jesus.
After he's done all this, I gotta ask, what is next for you, Larry? You've done everything else. Now what's next?
Well, you know, I'd like to, you know, be able to answer that question, you know, in a month or so. But what we're going to do, next year is we're going to have a team. My brother, who's a freestyle motocross rider and motocross rider, he lives in South Carolina, and my son and I are going to be a 3-man team. But so this year's Baja 1000, you know, we had the plan and we executed the plan. I mean, I'd like to tell you all this drama and everything, but it was not very dramatic. There's drama going on all around us, but we executed our plan. And we said this 20 times as a team. We said, look, we have a detailed plan. We're going to execute it perfectly and calmly. And that's what we did. And I made my first goal was to make it to 280 without getting beat up by the whoops. I did that. My second goal was to get to 380 before dark. I did that. My next goal was to get to 600 or more by sunup. And night was just horrible. The silt was just incredibly bad, the worst I've ever seen, up to your seat, literally, in places.
Oh my God.
And I got a big spike in my foot, right through my boot, as you're picking through the brush, trying to get around the silt. And, you know, it was, I mean, there was a time when I think I went 3 miles in 45 minutes. And it's really, really discouraging. And I was giving it everything I had. I was fighting for it. And it got really cold. It was a lot colder this year than usual. My hands were frozen when I came in at midnight to my truck, and had to thaw them out. I couldn't feel my fingers. Then I put cold weather gloves on. But anyway, I got to 600, actually 598 by sunup, so I was just a few miles behind, and my plan. And then I rode like crazy. I rode so good for the last 7 hours. I finished in 33 hours and 45 minutes. In fourth place out of 10, and I became the oldest 1000 Ironman finisher.
Whew. He's wearing me out just talking.
You know what? Listening to Larry talking, and once again, we're talking to Larry Janesky. Hearing him talk and hearing him say these stories, the one thing that keeps running through my mind is Netflix series, Hulu series, you know, something.
Chris, we could make money off of him. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I'm seeing dollar signs. Larry, is any of that coming your way?
Say again, is any
of those ideas, like doing some kind of series?
Any of those ideas, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, originally we made the movie for the first year's race, and we wanted to shop it around to studios. Maybe they could pick it up and buy the movie from us or something. But
sure,
you know, it became like, you know, it just really, I don't know. I just wanted to have fun and share my story, you know, and I didn't want to, you know, worry about re-editing the movie for them and making it what they wanted it to be, and so finally we said, you know what? After a year of editing, my guys were editing and everything. We said, screw it. We're putting it on YouTube so people could watch this thing.
Yeah.
And really, you know, my personal mission statement is, which I clarified a couple of years ago, is an extraordinary life of shared experiences. And so, I want to do cool things, and I want to share. I want to maybe inspire others that they could do, unusual, incredible, extraordinary things with their lives as well. And, a lot of people have been influenced and moved by the things that I do. And I welcome people, into my life and to, share these kinds of things. And in fact, when I went out to do the Ironman, I bring friends with me, like friends, like they're not racers. They're just good friends of mine. Mm-hmm. And just to follow in another vehicle and follow the chase truck and experience what this is like, because it's just really incredible. And two of my friends came this year. A few years earlier, we had like 7 or 8 friends, but 2 came this year, and they were an incredible help. Just at all the pits, and seeing when I saw my truck, they were just really, really helpful. But we're going to make another movie now about the Ironman quest for both me and my son, and we've been shooting this dang movie for 3 years now, but we didn't have the ending. We couldn't let it end on, sorry, you didn't finish.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
now we got the ending.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're editing 3 years of footage together to make a story about this, and hopefully, I can inspire other people. Maybe some people are getting older and they, kind of checked out and retired. And
I'm not checked out. You keep interrupting me, so I keep letting you talk.
No, I'm talking about, he said some people are getting older. I was like, Ellen.
Oh, yeah, you got room to talk. I've been getting older by the second. Are you kidding me?
Larry, if people aren't motivated by this story, then something's wrong with them.
That's
because
right.
You have such a phenomenal, just everything, man. Where can people go to find more information about Larry Janesky, and, not only the racer, but the businessman?
Yeah, so thinkdaily.com. Thinkdaily.com is awesome. A blog that I've been writing for 10 years, and it's free, and I have 27,000 people that get it every day.
Nice.
And then there's Think Daily for business people, so you can sign up for those. And then if someone wants, if there was an entrepreneur or a contractor in particular, any kind of home service, home improvement contractor, I have a whole online course that I've been working on. I've poured my whole life into this thing for the last 3 years, and it's an online, basically college course, and it's at thesoe.com, schoolofentrepreneurship.com, thesoe.com. And then people can go to my website, larryjanesky.com, to see lots of other links and cool stuff. I have books and audio programs. You can look me up on Amazon.
Of course you do. Is there anything you don't do, Larry?
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah.
I need to start just hanging out with this. I need to come to you and hang out with you all day long, because I feel like I'm one of the biggest slugs in the world talking to him. Oh my God, Chris, you don't feel like a slug talking to this guy?
Let me tell you what. He's so great at motivating, but he's so good at just making you feel 2 inches tall.
I know, right? I feel like I've been a giant failure all year now.
Here I was thinking I had a nice broadcast career spanning, 2.5 decades. Run into Larry, and it's like, okay, I haven't done anything.
I know, right? I feel like here I am, 40 years old, and I'm like, I haven't done any of this stuff. Oh my God, I'm such a failure.
LarryJanesky.com and thesoe.com. Larry, this has been an absolute honor and pleasure. Your story, and if somebody doesn't pick this up for, Netflix, Hulu, whatever, then they're wrong. Right. Because this is going to be a great series.
Yes. I mean,
I'm happy
they need to go watch the movie and turn that into a show, because that movie was awesome.
Yeah, the YouTube movie.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, everybody should enjoy that. That's a good one for sure.
Yeah. And Larry, before we go, because it is the holidays, one more thing. What do you want for Christmas?
He's done everything. What else is he gonna want?
I mean, yeah, exactly.
He wants sleep.
Just some rest, really.
I would say at this point you deserve it.
Can I get a blanket and a pillow?
That's right. Oh my God, have you slept in the last 15 years? I mean, seriously? Wow.
Only when he's prepping for Baja. Yeah.
I don't think he sleeps then, Chris. No, you should have seen them on this movie. They didn't sleep. They didn't sleep for 3 days. It's insane.
Oh my gosh.
And I was the guy that couldn't stay up on New Year's to watch the ball drop.
Right.
I mean, I need 8 hours, and I didn't think I could stay up for that long. And honestly, if somebody said you have to stay up for 34 hours watching TV, okay, there's no way. I mean, I couldn't do it. But on a dirt bike, when you have a passion and you have a goal, you dig deep. It's amazing what you can do. Not me. I'm just a regular guy. If you saw me on the street, I'm just a regular guy, okay?
All right.
And I like people to, once they know my story and they feel like, wow, you must be like this super amazing human being. I'm just a regular guy, trying to do stuff, and trying to make sense of it all and experience things and share those experiences. And but it's amazing what people can do, and I encourage people to believe in themselves, because if you don't believe in yourself, it's not possible, right? If you don't believe something is possible and you don't have a desire for it, you don't have an ambition to do something, then it's true. It is not possible for you. But if you have a desire and you believe that you can do it, you can do it. And it's amazing what you can do. Amazing. So, just have a dream and follow it.
Okay, I can see Larry's next career. He's going to be a motivational speaker. I can see it right now.
Larry,
I do a lot of that. So.
Thank you so much. Please go follow him on social media. Make sure you go to his website, Larry Janesky. Larry, we hope you have a fantastic 2019. Happy holidays to you and the family. Please give Tanner your best. And if you would, stay in touch. We can't wait to see what happens next.
That's right. Think of us when you're in Baja next time.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure talking to you guys.
Thank you, Larry. Have a fantastic holiday. We look forward to seeing you in 2019.
All right, you too. Take care.
Wow.
I know, right? I feel like the biggest slug in the world right now. Do you not feel like really bad about yourself right now? Because I do.
Here I was thinking I was doing something good with myself. And, then Larry Janesky comes along and kind of shuts me down.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I've accomplished crap in the last. What have I been doing the last 40 years? Seriously.
But you know what, Ellen? What a way to cap off a great year.
Right? Maybe it'll motivate me for next year to accomplish a whole lot more than I have.
I mean, he was phenomenal. So, gosh, I can't wait to see what happens right here on Behind the Wheel on RacingJunk.com. I want to especially thank Baja Ironman Larry Janesky for taking the time of his extremely busy holiday season to share that story. Ellen, what do you want for Christmas this year? What's Santa bringing?
I want to be motivated to do something. I want to be Larry, though, but not Baja Larry. I just want to, do something major next year, because I don't feel like I've done anything the last 40 years.
I want to be Larry Janesky.
Yeah, right.
No, let me tell you what, 2018 was great. 2019 is going to be even better. Right. We can't wait to see what happens. So, Ellen, if people want to get a hold of you or if they got story ideas, what do they do?
Hit me up at erichardson@automavenpro.com. We have got some exciting stuff coming up in 2019 already, and we might even have an exciting announcement coming up pretty soon, so stay tuned to RacingJunk.com. You can also go on there and comment anywhere on any of the articles I've written, and you'll definitely be able to tell me, especially if you follow Behind the Wheel. I mean, just comment on one of our shows. Tell us you want us to interview somebody. I mean, Larry, we really didn't know who Larry was, and unfortunately his PR person found me. So, found me from another Baja article. So look me up. Let's talk. Let's get, your driver on the air.
It's one big family and it's one big area. Sometimes we can't get around to everybody. So if there's somebody we need to talk to, please let us know.
That's right.
So for the lovely and talented Miss Ellen Richardson, Lily, we want to wish you guys an extremely happy, safe, blessed holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And we can't wait to see you here in 2019. And stay tuned to Behind the Wheel on RacingJunk.com for what's coming next.